G'day guys, Coach Josh here from CrossFit Assassin, and I'm here to talk to you today about sleep. Now we spend a third of our life in sleep, so the body has deemed it pretty important. But why? Well, for a couple of reasons. The first, repair. Whether it's from a heavy strength session and your body has to repair that damage that you've done during the day, or coming in contact with certain pathogens and your body has to detox or help with your immune system. Another very important process of sleep is our hormone regulation. Now, if we don't get enough quality sleep, our hormone regulation can start to downgrade, and this can make our thyroid quite lethargic. If this happens, our metabolism starts to slow down, and this can increase our weight gain or our unwanted fat gain. It also stuffs around with our testosterone or estrogen production, as well as increases our cortisol. Cortisol is the hormone that is related to storing fat on the gut, and we don't want that. So you can see why a good night's sleep is so important when it comes to our hormone regulation. Another very important part of sleep is our memory integration, as well as our cognitive function. During certain phases of our sleep, our body will start to piece together some of the information that it's received during the day and start to store it in our memory banks, as well as help us try to figure out what happened during the day. Finally, a very important part of sleep is our brain's ability to run a diagnostic on our body to make sure that certain functions are happening properly. So let's have a look at the phases of sleep. We have 4 phases. 3 of them are what we call non-REM sleep, N1, N2, N3. Now during these phases, our N1 sleep is our light sleep. This is where we are just starting to drift off. Our brain can still hear some of the outside noises, but if it's not important, it chooses to ignore it. This is also the stage where if you woke somebody, they would think that they weren't actually asleep. Have you ever had some of those jolts where you jolt yourself asleep? These things are called hypnic jerks, and these happen during the N1 stage. After that, we have our N2 stage. This is where we'll spend about 40 to 50% of our night. This is what we call true sleep, and this will bounce between N2 sleep and REM sleep, and we'll talk a little bit about that later. Finally, we have N3 sleep, and this is our deep sleep. This is the stage where our body will start running its diagnosis on our body, and that's why we need our muscle tone to start to be relaxed. N3 sleep, funnily enough, is also where sleepwalking, bedwetting, and some of those night terrors will take effect. Finally, we have REM sleep, which stands for rapid eye movement, and this is our dreaming phase. It's where our brain starts to put together our day's activities, as well as help us sort of problem solve. So let's have a look at a typical night's sleep now. Now, if we fall asleep and nothing interrupts us, we'll move pretty fast through N1 sleep and go into N2 sleep. Early on in the night, we'll spend a bit of time in our N3, and this is our first diagnostics of our body. These ones are very important for our brain to figure out how much repair it needs to do, what did we learn today, where do I need to store that, how much food did I eat and was it enough, how much energy output did I do today. So these couple of diagnostic parts of our sleep are massively vital. Then we're going to bounce from N3 up into our REM sleep. Now, funnily enough, we will have a few of these deep sleeps through the start of the night and not spend a lot of time in REM sleep, but as the night switches, we will drop off that deep sleep and spend a lot more time just bouncing between N2 and REM, N2 and REM. You can see here that at any point here we can wake up, and that's because sometimes as we're in our dreaming phase, we might stay on our one side of our body because during REM sleep, our muscles become completely paralyzed, and this is to stop us acting out our dreams. Could you imagine how much strife you would be in with your partner if you started acting out a fight scene? So our brain completely turns off all our muscles and paralyzes us. But because we're laying on one side of our body, we have to wake up sometimes to roll over because we've got pins and needles. During the night, we will spend more time in REM sleep, up to 10 minutes. And this is why at the end of the night, you can remember a lot of your dreams because you've gone from REM straight to awake. Now, at about the 2 or the 3 o'clock part of the night, that's when we get that dreaded waking up and thinking about the world's problems. That's because your brain has finished with all the repairing, it's finished with all the memory integration, and now it's starting to work on some of the problems that you're facing. If you've got a lot of stress happening in your life, this is why sometimes we wake up around about the 2 or 3 o'clock mark, because our brain is starting to think about some of the world problems. So that, guys, is the stages of sleep and why sleep is so important. If you want to know whether you're getting a good night's sleep, Stay tuned for the next video where we talk about sleep tracking and how to hack it. This has been Coach Josh Lawson from CrossFit Assassin, and we've been talking about sleep.